The Faiyum mummy portraits. These striking, lifelike paintings are some of the most deceptive images about ancient Kemet. Kemet art, culture, and the people were rooted deeply in the African continent, an undeniable reality reflected in their earliest monuments and self-depictions before the era of widespread foreign conquests. The turning point for Kemet's demographics began with the fall of its native dynasties and the onset of continuous foreign occupation. The most dramatic shift occurred with the arrival of Alexander the Great and the subsequent establishment of the Ptolemaic dynasty in 332 BC. This marked the beginning of heavy European and Mediterranean influence. Kemet was no longer ruled by its indigenous sons and daughters. It was now under the control of a Greek ruling class, opening the floodgates for mass migration into the Nile Valley. The epicenter of this demographic overhaul was the Faiyum region, a lush, fertile oasis located southwest of Cairo. Under indigenous rule, the Faiyum was a vital agricultural center. However, under the Ptolemies, it was targeted for massive redevelopment and colonization. It became the prime real estate for the new ruling class to reward their loyalists, fundamentally altering the demographic landscape of this specific region forever. The Greek settlement of the Faiyum was deliberate and aggressive. As documented by historical sources, Ptolemy I and his immediate successor, Ptolemy II, devoted significant attention to the region. They repaired monuments, temples, and canals, but more importantly, they allocated vast tracts of this fertile land to Greek and Macedonian military veterans. It was a classic colonial land grant system, designed to pacify the region and entrench Greek power by planting a permanent, loyal, foreign population right in the heart of Egypt. Historians widely acknowledge this massive influx of foreigners. According to historical records from institutions like the World History Encyclopedia, it is a well-established fact that the Faiyum population absolutely exploded during the Ptolemaic period. It is common knowledge amongst historians that these tombs had been under exclusive foreign occupation for several thousands of years. In the Ptolemaic period, the Faiyum is one of the main regions where Greeks settled. University College London. Greek settlers were brought to the area, creating prosperous Hellenistic communities. Statistical analysis revealed that Greek settlers constituted about 30% of the total population of the Faiyum in the mid-3rd century BC. It is known that the Faiyum population exploded during the Ptolemaic period, 332 to 30 BC, by the settling of numerous Greek veteran soldiers there. Ptolemy I and his immediate successor, Ptolemy II, devoted significant attention to the Faiyum, repairing and renovating the monuments, temples, canals, and administrative buildings which had fallen into decay. Ptolemy allocated lots of this fertile region to Greek and Macedonian veterans. The cemetery continued to be used for centuries, with the earlier shaft tombs being filled with later burials from the Greek, Roman, and Islamic periods. Dozens of individuals were buried at the site over hundreds of years of use. The Faiyum served as a bustling hub for a wealthy, Hellenized, and Romanized elite population entirely distinct from the indigenous African foundations of Kemet. It is entirely within this context of deep foreign occupation that the famous Faiyum mummy portraits were created. Dating approximately from the late 1st century BC to the mid-3rd century AD, these portraits are roughly 1,700 to 2,100 years old. The foreign, Hellenized population adopting the ancient Egyptian religious practice of mummification, but replacing the traditional stylized African burial masks with naturalistic, Greco-Roman painted portraits on wooden panels. When you look into the eyes of the Faiyum portraits, you are not looking at the ancient indigenous builders of the pyramids. You are looking at the Greco-Roman foreigners. Their features reflect their Mediterranean, European, and Levantan origins, standing in stark contrast to the native Kemetic population. As centuries turned into millennia, this Fayyum region, along with the rest of northern Egypt, became a massive mixing pot. The mixing was profound. This continuous layering of foreign genetics over the indigenous population created a new, heavily admixed demographic, particularly concentrated in the northern and urban centers like the Fayyum and Alexandria. The Fayyum became their main burial ground. Sites like Abusir el-Melek were used for centuries. Thousands upon thousands of these admixed and foreign individuals were buried at these sites over hundreds of years, leaving behind a heavily skewed genetic and physical record of Egypt that reflects the invaders rather than the originators. They document the faces of the colonizers and the admixed elite who occupied the land thousands of years after. Kemet's foundational achievements. This deep dive into the admixing and foreign occupation of the Fayyum perfectly explains the modern demographic reality. This proves exactly why many Egyptians today look so remarkably close to the Fayyum portraits. When you see striking resemblances between modern Egyptians and these ancient Roman-era paintings, it is because you are witnessing the direct genetic of that continuous influx of Greek, Roman, and Eurasian groups. The portraits do not negate the Black African origins of Kemet. Rather, they serve as a perfect historical timestamp, proving the massive genetic change and admixing that transformed the population of Egypt over the last 2,000 years.